This is Danny Gallagher, CEO of Process for Growth Consulting. Organic growth has been an elusive goal for the retail financial industry for a number of years now, and there are many different opinions on why we've been unable to develop a sustainable growth practice. This webinar will try to address how prospecting has changed from cold calling and seminars to relationship building through centers of influence, or as we call them, COIs. This, of course, is not new or earth-shattering news, but what is new is a new or different approach. The internet has changed the way we access information, and more importantly, to us, is how we purchase goods and services. We use the internet to find the products or services we want, we research online, and then we reach out and buy what we want, when we want, and what price that we're willing to pay for it, and how it will be delivered. The Internet of Things. Buying by receiving a sales pitch by phone call is so old school that it really doesn't even exist anymore. Cold calling now competes with over 3.4 billion robocalls per year. Does anyone still answer the phone if you don't know who it is? I certainly don't, but maybe you do. For us, no longer are we looked upon to tell people how we will invest for them, but instead we now have to tell people why we think about investing the way we do and make the prospect a partner for mutual agreement and affirmation. With only 7% of households having enough assets to pay for a management fee, we need to think through that this 7% of households also have an accountant, while the rest just use TurboTax. In today's world, for us to believe that the way we're going to acquire new clients is through cold calling defies the logic of how the world now acts. In the last 10 years, buying has fundamentally changed, so we must assume that selling has also fundamentally changed. Most importantly for us is that we know that 84% of the time we get a new client through a referral. So every other way of a client acquisition needs to be divided into 16%. A referrer can only refer 3 people: a family member, a friend, or a business associate / client. All 3 of these people could have negative blowback on the referrer if we do not execute our responsibilities in the way we are expected. The referrer can't go home for the holidays, can't go bowling with his friends, or they may lose a client because of our actions. Referring is a risky proposition. Where all referrals have a strong element of trust, an investment referral also must address the risk factor. We cannot eliminate risk, but we can try to address risk mitigation through our investment philosophy. Notice I say philosophy. Relationship selling demands an inclusionary discussion with our clients and prospects. No more, this is how I invest, but this is why I believe this is the best methodology. What do you think? The COI meeting is designed to show the COI that they can trust us more than we walked in the door, and that we have a grasp on risk mitigation for their clients. Of course, after we tell them who we are, what we do, and how we do it. And finally, we want to show them that we can be value added to their business. Let's walk through a presentation that is comprised of slides from several different PFGC client presentations. PFGC teaches the standard way, but FAs tend to be very interpretive. This study just appeared on the On Wall Street website. This is fascinating to me because as financial advisors, we cannot legally give tax advice, yet our clients want us to be knowledgeable in this area. How do we do that? Second, someone I can talk to and answer questions. I believe this directly relates to the Internet of Things. People go on the web and research, form an opinion, and then look for validation with a financial advisor. Several observations on these numbers here. Notice no mention of performance. In 2015, only 23% of investors knew what they paid in fees. Now, 62% of clients listed as an important factor for picking their financial advisor. Managing volatility. This, I believe, is a direct result of our adoption of the discretionary trading platform and models. No longer can we say, my job is to hold my client's hand while the market goes down. Now, we must act. I tried to imagine what this list would look like 10 years ago, and frankly, I don't believe a lot of these reasons would be on the list. In my opinion, actually none of them. I saw this screen capture the other day at a Morningstar conference. One of the greatest disparities on the slide is between how clients and FA value tax knowledge. Clients value it way more than we do. I get it. My standard response in every FA I've ever been the manager of or coach of, we say the same thing. I don't give tax advice. Now I believe we must be more proactive in finding a way to work with and present accountants as part of our tax-efficient investment strategies. Really, this is an industry and firm issue, as our clients have clearly indicated that what they want, and we now have to figure out a way to deliver it. We can start on how we articulate our offering. The next greatest disparity is maximizing of returns. I have no inside information, but I read that after tax returns, if it was performance, it would have been a totally different meaning. This is important in context of this presentation. Every meeting we have, we should think through before the meeting, what is the goal of the meeting? Our first COI meeting goal should be to understand that this is but the first step in a long-term relationship where we can become a valued partner on tax strategies with investments. We have to stop treating them like prospects and selling them. By aligning ourselves as a value-added partner, we reduce the need to refer to the accountant or lawyer. The caveat is that we actually must be value-added. Before we start going over the COI presentation, let's talk about the best way to present to people. And the answer is graphics. The argument for using graphics, and color graphics especially, is overwhelming. No paragraphs, less text. Think for every slide what clean, clear, color graphic I can use instead of text. We need to train ourselves to be effective communicators, especially in our presentations. So a couple of rules. Use bullet points, not sentences. If it looks like a paragraph, it is not a slide. If there is a graph, use it. Build your presentation in a way that takes into account how people read presentations. They don't. They flick their eyes over it. Never hand out a paper presentation. Use an iPad Pro to deliver so you can control the conversation. What is everybody's favorite subject? Themselves. Stop talking about you. They don't care. IBC is the real team and located in Blue Bell, Pennsylvania. We start with who we are, what we do, and how we do it, or what PFGC clients call the base presentation. All presentations are a variation of our standardized base presentation. But first, how do we start the conversation with a COI? We, the IBC group, believe in one client, one solution. What we mean by this is we know and understand that our clients have multiple financial accounts, but there's only one solution for the client. That solution has three components: investments, taxes, and estate planning. One client, one solution is the driving force of how we think and work with our clients, and we would like to understand if you're a fit with us. We would like to talk to you on why we think the way we do and get your feedback on delivering one solution. First, who we are. I like this slide. Clean and no bios that look like a paragraph. If there's a paragraph on a slide, it is not a slide. People make up their minds about a new person they meet in 3 seconds. 3 seconds. People only spend 6.5 seconds reading a resume. Make your presentation accessible to your audience. Use bullet points to relay information to your audience that they may relate to. What school you attended, children, what sports they play, what schools they attended, charities, golf club. Any person is just going to flick their eyes over the presentation. If it is a paragraph, in paragraph form, they will not read it. It is a human thing. Nothing we can do will change that. When I flicked my eyes over the IBC slide, I didn't read it. The only thing I noticed was that 2 of them went to St. Joe's, the same college as my father. I related to this fact. If you have a low handicap, put that in. People who are good golfers want to play with a golfer that is as good or better than they are. No golfer wants to play golf with me. Any relatable item in a bullet point. This is another real group at Morgan Stanley. We show our designations this way for a reason, because we want to make it about them, not us. So this is how we speak. The CFP means to you that we are trained to understand you in a holistic method and help you with your needs and goals. The portfolio manager designation means to you that we have chosen to work with our clients on a discretionary platform. This means to you that even though our firm is not a fiduciary firm, we and our firm must work with you in a fiduciary capacity. You may know this also as best interest. Everything is what does it mean to them, not how smart we are. Third, what we do. To me, everyone knows we're in investments. If you say I work at Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, UBS, or whatever, they know you do investments. So what do you want to tell them? All the things they don't know we do. This slide is designed so that when, not if, a client prospect flicks their eyes over the page, they see what? Wealth planning, insurance, assets, and liabilities at a glance. Mission accomplished. Finally, how we do it. This is our wealth management process. Again, clearly stated, easily seen, and understood. Now, when meeting with a COI the first time, we must attempt to show them that they can trust us a little bit more than when you walked in the office. I'm not saying they should or will trust you, but our goal is having them trust you a little bit more than when you walked in. We know that less than 1% of financial advisors execute an in-depth discovery process, so we want to show the COI all the questions we ask before we give any advice. This is driven by the one client, one solution process. What we want to tell the COI is that we ask all these questions before we make any recommendations. It is important for us to understand that all the needs and goals of a client so we can offer them the most tax-efficient strategies for our clientele. One client, one solution. This is how we give feedback to clients on the discovery meeting. When prospects see this page, they invariably tell us more information as they want all their information on one page. Clients love this. As you can see, when we execute an in-depth discovery, we actually do get all their needs and goals, and many issues can only be resolved with the assistance and leadership of an accountant and/or an estate attorney. One client, one solution has implications for all three of us to deliver the best strategy for our clients to meet their needs and goals. You can even try to set up the next meeting by saying something like this. I would like to meet with you again sometime and go over the questions to see if there are additional questions that you think we should ask. Develop a partnership with the COI. Our investment philosophy revolves around the question, what is the most effective and tax-efficient methodology for our clients to meet their needs and goals? This section is designed to address the fact that we are in an inherently risky business, and we want to show that we understand and have a process to address it. First, the number one asset class for our clients to meet their needs and goals is the S&P 500, and that has proven true since the 1920s. So what can we expect in returns? Well, the S&P has averaged 10% a year since the 20s, and the rule of 72 states that our clients should be able to double their money every 7.2 years. Does the S&P 500 go up 10% a year? No. Do our clients double their money every 7 years? No. But in the last 9 years, the S&P is up over 200%. Generalizations are only true when we are generalizing, and I am generalizing. The next question we have to answer is what is the best method to invest in the best investment asset class for our clients to meet their needs and goals? Well, there happens to be 4 ways to invest in the best investment asset class: individual stocks, SMA, mutual funds, and ETFs. Each one has their different characteristics, and let's review some of those characteristics because it's important for us to understand. Now, depending on the situation, you can go over some of the major differences and the reasons why they are important. Active versus passive, fees and taxes. Style drift is a little bit more difficult, but I believe I would speak about the fact that mutual funds, no matter what their stated investment objectives, an example, a large cap mutual fund, will invest in anything to juice their yields. Not only that, mutual funds are legally required, and SMA, to publish their holdings once a quarter. The day before they are legally required to publish their holdings is known in the industry as window dressing day. This is the day that mutual funds sell their losers and buy better performing stocks for publication. We do not approve nor want to participate in this industry practice. We believe in intentional investing. Clients care about 5 factors when choosing their investment vehicle: performance, dividends, expenses, taxes, and style drift. Now let's look how these 5 factors play out when we compare different portfolios. Even though these 2 portfolios are allocated exactly the same, there's a major difference because of what we call style drift: expenses, taxes, and in performance. Style drift happens because the active managers can buy and sell whatever they want during the quarter. Mutual funds and SMAs, again, are legally obligated to tell us what they own every quarter. The day before they publish their holding is called window dressing day by the financial industry. This means that the mutual funds and SMA portfolio managers sell all their losing positions for the quarter and buy stocks that were up during the quarter. We don't agree, nor do we participate in this practice. We believe in intentional investing where we can know exactly what securities we own so we can effectively run a portfolio based on metrics, not on a phony portfolio that is run to make the portfolio manager look good for a day. This comparison really breaks down when performance fees, dividends, and taxes are taken into account. Performance is a function of fees and taxes. We concentrate on after-tax performance. Over the 5 years, the difference to the client is $1.7 million, and so over 10 years, that would be $3.4 million on a $5 million portfolio. Do you think that $3.4 million on a $5 million portfolio is significant to the client? You can end the presentation either with the last slide or a slide like this that breaks down all the numbers for the accountant. I'm torn, but since we're dealing with an accountant, I like to end with this slide, a number slide. Though this is totally a different $5 million portfolio from the previous slide, the results are almost exactly the same. Now these are 1 and 3 year numbers, but if we extrapolate out over 10 years, the difference to the client is around $3.4 million on their $5 million portfolio. Do you think this is significant to our clients? We believe so. I've heard many stories of accountants' responses to the presentation. One accountant's response was that when his clients complain about taxes that their mutual funds generates, he tells them, "What are you complaining about? The taxes show how well your mutual funds are performing." That is being a value-added partner. That is the COI presentation, the start of a long-term relationship where we become a value-added partner. Follow-up meetings should be on investments and taxes as we work hard to be a value-added partner to the accountant or estate planning attorney. Parametrics, the Beldor Exchange Fund should be separate follow-up meeting. Remember, do not treat them like a client. Treat them like a partner. This is because they are our partners to deliver one client, one solution for our clients. Finally, I like to point out that a PFGC client took me to task over my bio page because it was in paragraph form. Chastened, I followed my own advice.